going to code our first Python programs as we introduce basic concepts of Python, so that then in later videos we can actually go into more data science specific content. This is not meant to be a comprehensive Python introduction or class, but it'll get you far enough, and then we will be looking at Python quirks and ways to do things that are more optimal as we go along. This again is the first introduction, and for that one we're going to open our Anaconda Navigator and launch Jupyter Lab. Once Jupyter Lab opens up, we're going to be presented with this the first time we open Jupyter Notebooks. Okay, what we want to do is create a new notebook. So you click here where it's under Notebook, just click on this one. This is a new file. Jupyter Notebook files are divided in cells. This is a cell, and a cell can be code, markdown, or just simple text. Markdown is a little system with notation that can actually create formatted text. So let's say, for example, I'm going to create this code. I'm going to make it markdown, and I'm going to create, and I'm going to say, this is some text for the first Python lesson. And then if I click on play, if I run this code, it will be formatted like so. But there's a lot more that I can do. If I click on it, and if I double click on the text, I come back to editing it. What I can do here in this text is I can do a lot more. I can, for example, put 2 hashtags and then a title. First Python introduction. And then this is some text for the first, and then let's say I put 2 stars in here for the first Python lesson. When I click on play here and format and I run this cell, there's some formatting here. This is in italics and this is a title. So there are a lot of formatting instructions here that I'm going to be detailing as we create more of these things. Whenever you create a cell, whenever you run a cell, a new cell below will be created. In this cell, for example, we can create more markdown, or we can just put some code. Remember the code from the first video where we said print hello. Okay. If we run this, this is in code mode, so it's code. If we run it, it will run the code, it'll print hello, and it will open a new cell. And so we go. If we want to insert a cell between hello and this, we could just use this button, insert a cell above, insert a cell below. We're going to be covering more of the workings of this as we go. But the important thing now is that this is a Jupyter notebook, and we need to save it so that we can use it later. Right now, the name is untitled1.ipynb, which indicates to the computer this is a Jupyter notebook. We can save this with this little save icon here. And I'm going to rename it. I'm going to put, first Python Jupyter notebook. I'll rename it. And it's saved. And here I have my folders. I could save it anywhere I want, right? But for now, I'm just saving them. I'm just saving them in this folder. So you can see it's right here. If I close Jupyter Notebooks and come back up, this file will show up by default, but you can always find it here as well. So let's get started with this Jupyter Notebook. So we can print, hello or hello world. You can edit this, right, and say hello world and rerun the chunk, rerun the cell, and now you see hello world. In any programming languages, you have variables. So I'm going to type here so that a little bit of a commentary here. Variables. And variables are places to hold values. And I'm going to explain this. Imagine you have a drawer where you're going to put some things in it, right? And drawers come in different sizes. Now, imagine you have a ton of drawers. So you need to remember where you put what. Well, the basic thing that you want to do is label those drawers with whatever's inside, right? So these are like drawers with labels to remember what's inside. Now, this, as you might have noticed here, this is changing colors and whatnot. That's because it's formatted as code. I can make it change code according to a markdown language and then run it. So let's look at some of the variables here. So for example, if I have a number, 34, and let's say that is my age, I might want to put it in a drawer labeled age, and I can save that number, okay? So I will say age equals 34. That means the number 34 is going to go into a drawer labeled age. Now, in my program, whenever I say age, I will mean 34. So I can have age, and I can have, or I can change this and put my age, and then I can have your age is 53, for example, okay? And then what I can do with these variables is I can use them. I can say print my age plus your age. So our combined age. And I can run this chunk or this cell, and it's 87. Now, the beautiful thing about variables is that I can change a variable. So instead of 34, let's say you have you're 44, I can run the chunk and everything else works because 44 was stored in a drawer labeled my age. I stored it there, but then nothing changed. You see, here I'm going to print whatever's in the drawer my age plus whatever's in the drawer labeled your age. Now, if we talk more properly, I'm going to print whatever's in the variable called my age plus whatever value is in your age. Okay? And I can only modify one thing or two, and then nothing else in the program changes. That's the beautiful thing about variables. If I instead have print with the value 44 and the value 53, every time I want to print it, I have to modify the value. And every time I want to use that age later in my program, I would need to modify the value. Here, I just change what I store in this drawer, in this variable, and then the rest of the program works because it is making reference to the variable, not the actual number inside. For example, I can also have another variable called height. And whoops, I'm going to align them. It's very important that in Python things are aligned. And I'm height, say in centimeters, and I'm going to have 178.5. And that's going to be your height. Now, here's something important to notice, is that in these drawers, in these variables, you can store whole numbers. We're going to call those integers. Or you can store decimal numbers. We're going to call those floating point numbers. This is old arcane language to indicate that a number can have a decimal. We can also call them double precision numbers. For the purposes of this class, of this lesson, they're all the same. They're decimal numbers. Also, a variable can have text. So for example, a variable called greeting, I can put, and whenever I put text, I need to put quotes around it. So I can say, hello world. Okay. Now I'm storing the text, hello world, in a variable called greeting. And then what I can do is I can print my age, your age. I can also print the greeting, and I can print the height. Now, if I run this chunk, I'm going to print three things. So let's run them. Oops, select the chunk and run it. Now you can see printed 97, which is the sum of the ages. It print the greeting, hello world, and it print the height right there. So this is a little snippet that shows three kinds of variables. A kind that can hold integers, a kind that can hold decimals, and a kind that can hold text. Python knows what a variable is holding just because you give it a value, so Python figures it out. Okay?